Hello everyone, I hope all of you are doing well. So today what we are going to discuss is how to address generic questions that come in UPSC mains. This is question number 2 of the polity paper or GS2 paper of UPSC mains of 2021 only. And in this question, the UPSC has gone ahead and asked a very generic question. By generic, what do I mean? That it is a very broad kind of a question. It is testing your broad conceptual clarity and it is also testing your very basic orientation towards these kind of topics. So in this topic, they have asked this: discuss the desirability of greater representation to women in the higher judiciary to ensure diversity, equity and inclusiveness. 151 10 marks. So now this question is simply asking you what is the desirability of having greater representation of women in the higher judiciary. All of us know that the representation of women in higher judiciary is less. Number one. Number two, all of us agree to the fact that there should be larger number of women in the higher judiciary as judges. So we all agree to that. But how to write in on a piece of paper, how to actually show UPSC your understanding of this particular topic, of this particular broader idea, but broader principle that we all agree to, is something that only comes with practice and understanding answer writing. So in this, I would like you to take care of three things. First of all, don't get lost in how broad the question is, because the word limit is 150 words and you have only limited amount of time to write for this question. You have other 19 questions also to write. So that's why I always say that don't lose the track of the time. You should not be finishing this question in more than 200 words. Maximum 7 to 8 minutes you should be writing this particular answer. Okay, that is the first point. The second point is, when UPSC is asking such broad questions, you have to be able to give brief examples or brief points, very specific points to justify your stand. Of course, everyone here is going to take the stand that there should be a greater representation of women. How to achieve that greater representation of women is also something that you will have to address. But you have to be specific. You have to be very specific. So, you will have to divide your question, obviously, answer in three parts: introduction, body and the conclusion. In introduction, what do you think you will write here? Because there is nothing to define as such. So in introduction, you simply will be addressing the point of poor representation of women in the judiciary, right? That is the first thing. The second thing, in body, you are going to discuss the main idea that is asked in the question. The main keyword is desirability of greater representation, right? So this greater representation point is going to be discussed in body. Like I have told you in every answer writing video of mine, you should watch all of them if possible. You will get a very good idea about answer writing. The number one thing is identify the key concept which you have to define in the introduction. Here there is no such key concept. It's a broad question. So you just have to talk about the poor representation of women in the judiciary, because you just have to talk about how this is not achieved today, right? That is how we are going to do it, because there is no definition per se of representation of women. So this is not a definition kind of a question or concept. So we are going to talk about the opposite thing, which is how there is poor representation of women in judiciary in the introduction. And in the body, we are going to talk about we are going to explore this desirability of greater representation. Why there should be higher number of women judges in our judiciary, higher judiciary especially. What does that lead to? How does that help our democracy? How does that help our judiciary? These are the things we are going to talk about. So this is the brainstorming that I am helping you with. And the third is going to be the conclusion, in which we are going to talk about simply the way forward, right? That how we can achieve this. Because in conclusion, what else will you write here? You only want to give a few points about how will you actually be able to achieve that particular thing. Okay, so let's start this answer writing. So first of all, like I told you in the introduction, I will write about how judicial representation of women is poor. So judiciary has faced poor representation of women judges in High Court and Supreme Court. ऐसा एंड बना सकते हो आप, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. Supreme Court only. Now here I will try to give a hard fact to make my answer more credible, because you don't want to write generic answer to a generic question. You want to be more specific. Only 10 to 12. See, now even if I don't know what is the exact percentage of women in the high courts and the Supreme Court, what is the exact percentage of women judges there, I can at least give you a general idea, because I know that 10 to 15% are women. I don't know exactly, but here I can give approx number also. That is all right with UPSC. You can. There has never been a female Chief Justice of India. Okay, now here you are giving very hard fact that there has never been a female Chief Justice of India. So in introduction, I am just telling you what is the current situation, which is not good, because here the question is not of definition type. So now, what are the keyword? Desirability. Now body comes. Introduction हो गया. Desirability of greater representation in higher judiciary. Of course, I will underline this particular thing. All right. Move this up a little bit so that you can see the entire thing. Desirability of greater representation of women in higher judiciary. So now we are going to discuss the body, in which we will discuss the main concept that has been asked, main thing that has been asked, main question that has been asked, and we will explore the different points. So why there is a disability? Why do we want to have more women, right? Gender neutrality in judgments. There will be greater gender representation, so automatically gender neutrality aa jayegi judgments mein, whatever judgments are coming out. And you can explain this a little bit. Women can bring different perspective to the law, which will enrich the legal field and improve मैंने थोड़ा जेनेरिक सा ही पॉइंट दिया है, बट ऑफ कोर्स ये इस टाइप के क्वेश्चन है जो आप पहले प्रिपेयर करके नहीं जा सकते, बिकॉज ये एक न्यूज़पेपर में एक बार सुप्रीम कोर्ट जज जो थे उन्होंने इसके बारे में बात करी थी कि रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ वुमेन इन हायर जुडिशरी, पर वहाँ भी ये पॉइंट्स उन्होंने, ऐसा नहीं है कि ये पॉइंट्स उन्होंने डिस्कस करे थे. दिस इज समथिंग दैट comes with your understanding of various things. So you have to frame the answer on the spot. There will be some points that are generic and there will be some points which are specific, but try to make it as specific as possible. जेनेरिक आंसर लिखोगे तो मार्क्स नहीं मिलेंगे, ये बता रहा हूँ मैं आपको. जेनेरिक मतलब ब्रॉड आइडियाज. अभी ब्रॉड वाला आइडिया का पॉइंट है, पर मेरे पास लिमिटेड पॉइंट्स ही हैं एंड लिमिटेड टाइम है, तो ऑफकोर्स मैं ये नहीं है कि हर चीज़ बिल्कुल परफेक्ट लिख दूंगा, और भी क्वेश्चंस आंसर करने हैं, राइट. एड्रेसिंग वुमेन्स इश्यूज at top forums and judicial processes. This is also important, right? That अगर women आएंगी तो women के जो issues हैं हमारी country में, they could be actually addressed by women judges more effectively. Now here I will give you specific examples, many cases such as Sabarimala case and Vishakha judgment directly dealt with the questions pertaining to women's freedoms and safety. Female representation. अब मैं ऑब्वियसली मैंने एक फैक्ट दे दिया, अब उसको मैं जस्टिफाई कर रहा हूँ. फीमेल रिप्रेजेंटेशन वुड बैलेंस थोड़ा सा मैंने हाई साउंडिंग वर्ड्स दे दिया. इट वुड बैलेंस द scale of justice. So you can talk in metaphors also sometime. You don't have to always. Okay. Many cases in which women are victims. In many cases where women are victims, it is important that at least one of the judges on the bench is woman. Of course, because they can relate, they can understand those issues better, and maybe even the person who's the victim might feel more comfortable. Okay. And then the third point that I came up with was more, and again, a generic point, but whatever I could do the best. Role model for young women. Just write a short point on this, that मेरी राइटिंग ख़राब इसलिए आ रही है क्योंकि थोड़ा सा मतलब इधर उधर इसलिए हो रहा है, बिकॉज आई एम होल्डिंग द कैमरा. आई हैव टू फिगर आउट अनदर वे टू बी एबल टू रिकॉर्ड इट. ड्रीम ऑफ ऑक्यूपाइंग, बिकॉज स्टैंड वगैरह यूज़ करना काफ़ी टाइम लग जाता है उसमें. सो आई एम जस्ट होल्डिंग इट. Young women can dream of occupying the highest offices and becoming agents of change. So when of course young women see more female judges, they will be able to visualize themselves also as female judges. So that will help. So now these are the points that I've given in the body, but we in this kind of a question we will need a way forward. सुनो, वे फॉरवर्ड हर क्वेश्चन में नहीं चलता है, पर यहाँ पे इसलिए चलेगा क्योंकि एक ओवरऑल एस्पिरेशनल टाइप का क्वेश्चन है कि भाई हमें फीमेल जजेस चाहिए ज़्यादा. तो ऐसे एस्पिरेशनल क्वेश्चंस में हमेशा वे फॉरवर्ड देना चाहिए. तो उसमें स्कॉलरशिप्स एंड रिजर्वेशन ऑफ सीट्स for girls in law colleges could increase their enrollment in legal education, right? So एक आपने वे फॉरवर्ड दे दिया, एक सोल्यूशन दे दिया इस पर्टिकुलर प्रॉब्लम का. एंड द सेकंड इज escalation of women judges in top courts or higher judiciary through setting up of special committee under the government. So of course there can be a special committee formed, and this special committee could escalate or could expedite the setting up of escalation of women judges. So अब यहाँ पे आप देखिए जेनेरिक क्वेश्चन को हमने थोड़ा और स्पेसिफिक बना दिया है. कैसे? यहाँ पे एग्जांपल्स दिए केसेस के, उसमें कैसे विमेन रिप्रेजेंटेशन होता जजेस जुडिशरी में तो हेल्प करता. दैट पॉइंट वी हैव गिवन a certain percentage through approximate numbers of women that are actually judges in the high court, and also that the fact that female chief justice कभी भी नहीं हुआ इंडिया में, वो भी हमने बताया यहाँ पे. और एक पर्टिकुलर फॉर्मेट में टाइम लिमिट के अंदर एक पर्टिकुलर सिंपल वे को फॉलो करके एक आंसर दिया है विद इन द वर्ड लिमिट. ऑफ कोर्स दिस हैज गॉन लिटिल बिट ओवर द वर्ड लिमिट, बट दैट विल बी द केस इन प्रीटी मच एवरी क्वेश्चन दैट यू राइट. And way forward also we have given very specific points: scholarships, reservations, escalation of women judges through formation of a special committee, right? So this is how you write a generic question in UPSC, and I hope this will help you to continue your answer writing practice. Let me know if you have questions. We'll be happy to answer them. Send me those questions in the comment section. All right, bye bye.